Homer Simpson. Homer Simpson is basically what happens when you give a man-child nuclear reactor access and hope for the best. This guy has been a safety inspector at the Springfield nuclear power plant for decades, which is either the greatest comedy bit in television history or a genuine threat to public safety. Homer's approach to life is beautifully simple. See donut, eat donut, drink beer, repeat until unconscious. What makes Homer fascinating is how he's managed to fail upward through sheer dumb luck and the universe's apparent sense of humor. The man can cause international incidents while trying to make breakfast, yet somehow always lands on his feet with a beer in hand. His brain operates like a magic 8-ball filled with terrible advice. Shake it up and you'll get an answer, but it definitely won't be helpful. Homer's relationship with his family is like watching a golden retriever try to parent 3 very different children. He loves them fiercely, but with all the emotional intelligence of a brick. His parenting style ranges from strangling Bart when frustrated to completely forgetting he has children when something shiny catches his attention. Yet somehow, when it really matters, Homer pulls through with genuine heart and surprising wisdom. The guy treats Moe's Tavern like his second home and his drinking buddies like his closest confidants. Homer's friendship with Barney, Lenny, and Carl is built on shared stupidity and mutual enablement, creating a support group for terrible life decisions. Marge Simpson. Marge Simpson is living proof that patience isn't just a virtue, it's a superpower, and she's been flexing it harder than any superhero for over 3 decades. This woman has hair that defies physics, and somehow that's still not the most unrealistic thing about her situation. Staying married to Homer Simpson definitely takes the crown there. Marge's role as the family's moral compass is both her strength and her burden. She's constantly trying to teach her children right from wrong, while married to a man who thinks stealing cable is a victimless crime. The woman has the patience of a saint dealing with Homer's schemes, Bart's pranks, and the general chaos that follows the Simpson name like a cursed shadow. Early seasons portrayed her as the long-suffering wife who always did the right thing. Now we see her moments of petty revenge, her own capacity for questionable decisions, and her occasional complete emotional breakdowns, which honestly makes her more relatable. Her relationship with her children reveals different sides of her personality. With Bart, she's protective, but often overwhelmed by his destructive creativity. With Lisa, she's supportive, but sometimes doesn't understand her daughter's intellectual pursuits. And with Maggie, she gets to experience the simple joy of caring for someone who can't talk back yet, which must be incredibly refreshing. She came from wealth, had other options, and could have married someone who doesn't regularly get his head stuck in things, but she picked Homer and all the chaos that comes with him. It's either the greatest love story ever told or evidence that even smart people make terrible life decisions. By the way, I'm going to be posting a lot here, so subscribe and drop a like for the algorithm. Bart Simpson. Bart Simpson is what happens when you give a 10-year-old the soul of a 1920s gangster and unlimited access to slingshots. This kid has turned mischief into an art form, treating the entire town of Springfield like his personal playground, and everyone in it like unwitting participants in his elaborate pranks. What makes Bart brilliant is how his troublemaking comes from genuine creativity rather than malice. The boy doesn't just break rules, he reinvents them, finds loopholes nobody knew existed, and somehow makes chaos look effortless. Principal Skinner represents everything Bart finds boring and oppressive about adult expectations, making their ongoing conflict feel like David versus Goliath. The kid's loyalty to his family runs deeper than anyone expects. Sure, he'll sell Lisa's soul to Milhouse for $5, but when external threats emerge, Bart becomes fiercely protective. Bart's catchphrases and attitude have influenced an entire generation of kids who learned that being bad could be way more fun than being good. Lisa Simpson. Lisa Simpson is an 8-year-old genius. This kid could probably solve climate change, achieve world peace, and cure cancer before lunch. But instead, she's stuck trying to convince her father that books contain more than just pictures, and her brother that knowledge isn't actually contagious. She maintains her moral compass and intellectual curiosity despite being surrounded by chaos and willful ignorance. She's like a lighthouse of reason in Springfield's ocean of stupidity, constantly trying to guide people toward better decisions while they sail directly into the rocks anyway. Her saxophone is her emotional outlet in a world that rarely barely understands her. Jazz speaks to something in Lisa that words can't express, providing a sophisticated artistic voice for someone who's emotionally mature beyond her years but still learning how to navigate an adult world that often disappoints her. Lisa's relationship with her family creates constant internal conflict. She loves them desperately, but is frequently embarrassed by their behavior and frustrated by their lack of understanding. With Homer, she's often the responsible one in their relationship. With Bart, she alternates between sibling rivalry and genuine affection. Her political awakening and social consciousness set her apart from most cartoon characters. Lisa doesn't just care about issues, she acts on them even when it costs her personally. Whether she's becoming vegetarian, fighting corruption, or standing up for the underdog, Lisa puts her principles before her convenience, which is admirable and sometimes exhausting to watch. Maggie Simpson. Maggie Simpson is the ultimate wild card in the family deck, a baby who communicates primarily through pacifier sucking, but somehow manages to be more observant than most adults in Springfield. Don't let the diaper fool you. This kid has shot people, driven cars, and orchestrated complex schemes, while the rest of her family argues about what to have for dinner. What's brilliant about Maggie is how she serves as both the innocent baby and the secret agent of the family, spending most episodes being adorable and then casually preventing nuclear meltdowns or taking down criminal organizations like it's just another Tuesday. Homer and Marge baby-proof everything for her while she's out there living her best covert operative life, and Bart and Lisa treat her like a typical baby sibling, completely unaware that she's probably the most capable person in the house. Abraham Grandpa Simpson. Grandpa Simpson is like a walking history book where half the pages are missing and the other half were written in crayon during fever dreams. This man has allegedly lived through every major historical event of the 20th century, though his stories change depending on his mood and breakfast. He's elevated complaining to an art form, finding fault with everything from modern technology to the quality of today's clouds. Abe's relationship with Homer is a masterclass in generational dysfunction, where father-son bonding has become an extreme sport of disappointment. Homer dumps his father at the retirement home like a defective appliance, while Grandpa responds with guilt trips. His time at Springfield Retirement Castle has turned him into the unofficial mayor of Forgotten America, surrounded by other abandoned elderly residents. His rambling stories start nowhere and go everywhere, somehow ending up oddly profound or completely meaningless. Ned Flanders. Ned Flanders is what happens when someone tries to live by every rule in every self-help book while maintaining the emotional stability of a golden retriever on antidepressants. This man has turned being aggressively nice into both a superpower and a form of psychological warfare that drives Homer absolutely insane. The beautiful tragedy of Ned is that he's genuinely trying to be the perfect Christian neighbor while living next door to the least Christian person in Springfield. His attempts at kindness and community spirit are constantly met with Homer's jealousy, resentment, and occasional property damage. Ned's widowerhood added unexpected depth to his character, showing how someone deals with genuine tragedy while maintaining their faith and optimism. His struggle to raise Rod and Todd as a single father while keeping his religious convictions intact creates moments of real vulnerability beneath all that relentless positivity. Mr. Burns. Mr. Burns is what happens when you give unlimited wealth and power to someone whose moral compass was apparently lost in a tragic boating accident sometime around the Coolidge administration. This man is so old and evil that he makes vampires look like misunderstood teenagers going through a difficult phase. Burns operates on a level of cartoonish villainy that somehow makes him more entertaining than threatening. He's not just rich, he's absurdly, comically wealthy in ways that defy both economics and physics. His relationship with Smithers is one of television's most complex employer-employee dynamics. Smithers worships Burns with a devotion that borders on religious, while Burns barely acknowledges Smithers exists as anything more than a very efficient piece of office equipment. It's like watching unrequited love play out in corporate America's most toxic workplace. Waylon Smithers. Smithers has perfected the art of professional devotion to such a degree that it's either the most loyal employment relationship in television history, or the most elaborate long-term stalking situation ever documented. This man doesn't just work for Mr. Burns, he's built his entire identity around making Burns' life easier and more comfortable. What makes Smithers compelling is how his competence contrasts with his boss's complete disconnection from reality. Smithers runs the nuclear plant, manages Burns' affairs, and basically keeps both the company and his employer functional while receiving minimal recognition and occasional abuse for his efforts. He's trapped in a situation where his greatest strength, his loyalty, is also his greatest weakness. Moe Szyslak. Moe runs a bar that serves as Springfield's unofficial therapy center, community center, and occasionally crime headquarters. This man has turned professional cynicism into an art form, while somehow maintaining a business that should have been shut down by health inspectors, fire marshals, and basic human decency years ago. His establishment is where grown men go to avoid their responsibilities and complain about their lives in a supportive environment of shared misery. Moe facilitates this dysfunction while adding his own special brand of bitter wisdom and questionable life advice to anyone willing to listen. Barney Gumble. Barney Gumble is Homer's drinking buddy and occasional conscience. A man whose life serves as both cautionary tale and inspiration depending on which episode you're watching. His struggles with alcoholism have been handled with surprising sensitivity for a cartoon, showing both the humor and tragedy of addiction. When Barney gets sober, he reveals unexpected depths and talents, suggesting that alcohol has been masking a genuinely interesting person. His friendship with Homer endures through various life changes, proving that some bonds survive even the most destructive behaviors. Krusty the Clown. Krusty the Clown has turned children's entertainment into a master class in corporate cynicism wrapped in grease paint and false enthusiasm. This man treats his young audience like a focus group for questionable merchandise while maintaining just enough charm to keep parents from complaining too loudly. His off-camera personality contrasts sharply with his public persona, revealing someone who's deeply flawed but occasionally capable of genuine care for the children who worship him. Sideshow Bob. Sideshow Bob is what happens when you give a Shakespearean actor a grudge, a genius-level intellect, and absolutely no sense of proportion. This man has turned revenge against a 10-year-old boy into a life's work that would impress professional supervillains with its dedication and complexity. His elaborate schemes showcase both his brilliant mind and his complete inability to let go of petty grievances. Chief Wiggum. Chief Wiggum runs Springfield's police force with the investigative skills of a golden retriever and about half the common sense. This man has turned law enforcement into an elaborate game of guess and hope, somehow maintaining public safety through pure luck and the criminal's apparent incompetence. His relationship with his son Ralph adds touching moments to his character, showing how even the most clueless adults can be loving parents. Milhouse Van Houten. Milhouse has perfected the art of being the eternal sidekick, supporting character in both Bart's adventures and his own life story. This kid's unrequited crush on Lisa has become legendary in its persistence and complete futility, like watching someone try to convince a cat to fetch. Milhouse often serves as Bart's conscience while getting dragged into situations that test both his courage and his eyeglass prescription. Principal Skinner. Principal Skinner runs Springfield Elementary like a military operation designed by someone who's never actually been in the military but watched a lot of war movies. His relationship with his mother has turned him into the most psychologically complex school administrator in television history. His ongoing battle with Bart creates some of the show's best cat and mouse dynamics, with Skinner playing an authority figure who's just competent enough to occasionally catch his nemesis but not smart enough to stay ahead of him. Edna Krabappel. Edna Krabappel taught 4th grade with the enthusiasm of someone serving a life sentence, bringing a world-weary cynicism to elementary education that was both hilarious and oddly inspiring. Her romantic relationship with Ned Flanders proved that even the most jaded hearts can find unexpected love. Apu Nahasapeemapetilon. Apu runs the Quickie Mart with the dedication of someone who's turned convenience store management into a personal mission. His work ethic makes everyone everyone else in Springfield look lazy by comparison, maintaining impossibly long hours while somehow keeping the store functional despite constant robberies and bizarre customer requests. His large family and cultural background add diversity to Springfield while creating storylines that explore immigration, tradition, and the American dream. Comic Book Guy. Comic Book Guy has turned nerd culture into a form of performance art, wielding his encyclopedic knowledge of pop culture like a weapon against anyone who dares enter his domain with insufficient geek credentials. This man doesn't just sell comics, he curates them with the seriousness of a museum director protecting priceless artifacts. His condescending attitude and impossible standards have made him the perfect representation of gatekeeping culture. Ralph Wiggum. Ralph Wiggum operates on a wavelength that only he can hear, creating profound observations and complete nonsense with equal conviction. This kid doesn't just think outside the box, he's not aware there was ever a box to begin with, approaching the world with a logic that's either pure genius or complete madness. If you enjoyed this, make sure to subscribe to never miss a video.